Okay, let's have a look at the answers to these puzzles. First, let's tackle the easy one.
Okay, white to play and mate in 1. Let's look at where the black king can move and see if that gives us any clues. The black rooks get in the way a bit, but there are still 6 squares left to check. The knight is attacking 2 of the squares, and the queen attacks the same 2 squares, which leaves 4 squares left for white to attack. Now you may know that knights can't attack black and white squares at the same time, so we are going to need to use the queen. And as it happens, the only 2 squares the queen can move to, attacking the black king, are e6 and f7, where the queen will be defended by the knight. But which one is the right answer? Well, you can see that f7 is defended by the rook, so let's move the queen to e6. Let's check to see why this is checkmate. The white queen attacks in any direction, and the other 2 squares are helpfully occupied by black's rooks. Next puzzle. Black to play and mate in 2, and it's fairly easy to see that the only square the white king can move to is g1. Where can black attack? Can black get another piece to help the queen and attack h2? Can the bishop or knight help? There are too many pieces in the way for the bishop to help, so what about the knight? The knight could move to either of these squares to attack h2. If the knight moves here, then white can easily defend the threat on h2 by moving the f-pawn. So let's go back and look at the other option. If we move the knight here, then white can't move the f-pawn. But isn't the white queen defending this square? Well, it looks like the white queen is defending this square, but actually the white queen has another very important job to do. Can you spot it? It has to defend f1 as well, or the black queen can take the white rook and give checkmate. So the white queen has too many jobs. Can you see what black needs to do? White faces 2 threats. Checkmate on h2 must be stopped, and the rook on f1 must be defended. The problem for white is that the only way to stop mate on h2 is to take the black knight. That stops checkmate on h2, but we already worked out what happens next. Okay, last puzzle. Black to play and mate in 3. The bishop attacks e1, but the other 2 squares are safe. Let's look at checks. The bishop could give check here, and with the bishop out of the way, the rook could give check here. This rook check looks good, defended by the bishop on b4, but the bishop check, not so good, because the white knight can just take it. We wouldn't want to give the bishop up without a reason. Is opening the e-file for the rook a big enough reason? Let's put all the pieces back and find out. The bishop gives check, and the rook controls the e-file, so there is only one way for white to get out of check. And now with the bishop out of the way, black can play the rook check. And again, there's only one way out of check. Okay, this is where we are. Let's have a look at the position again. With the knight now blocking h3, and the rook controlling the first rank, f3 is the only safe square. And with the g-pawn pinned,